Hello everyone, welcome to Mr. Hancock's English course. This video is going to be a little bit of a late introduction to the Comp 2 Unit 2 poetry essay. And so what I want to do here is going into Blackboard. I want you to go to the course, obviously, and click into Content, Unit 2, and then let's open up the actual assignment itself, the poetry analysis assignment, and then we'll discuss it really quick. And there won't be too much to point out here, except for the change in due dates. The due dates are a little bit different, and it may change. It just depends. I want to give you all adequate time to really work out the research aspect of this, because here are the two points I want to make about this. Number one, it's the same type of essay you're writing that you wrote for your short story. So you're taking a piece of literature, you're going to analyze it, and you're going to answer that question, what is this trying to teach us, and what's the theme, or therefore what's the theme? And you're going to get the theme, and you're going to use the body paragraphs with the C method to lay out your case, to persuade your reader that this is what it is. The new difference, number two, here's the big difference. You are going to use two secondary sources to support your claims, and that's mainly what we really want to work on. You know the essay format, you know how the essay works, what's expected, all of that. That's going to be the same thing that we just did from the last paper. So now we want to spend time working on the research portion of this. Okay. So with that being said, I want to just go through a couple points, and then after we look at this really fast, I want to transition. I'm looking at the computer, obviously, behind you. I want to look back at the last essay, or last unit, Unit 1, into the analytical essay writing handout. And you can go back and watch that video again if you need. But there's a point in there. We kind of skipped a step in that writing process, that scientific method that we'll go back to. But anyway, here it is. There are your due dates, but here's the main point. Three sources required, one primary source. We know the primary source is the poem. So when you go and whichever poem you pick, even if you pick two, I'm not opposed to you comparing two. It does get a little bit more, a little more challenging in a way. To you, it may seem easier, and that's fine. But it may get a little more challenging in the content, how to synthesize both of them into one argument, to show how they're both putting out an idea. But you'll use one primary source, mainly just one poem, and then two secondary. And going back, thinking about what we had in our previous handouts, discussing what the difference is between primary, secondary, and a tertiary source. So number one, the primary is the source, the text you're evaluating: poem, short story, song lyrics, interview, whatever, eyewitness account. Those are primary sources. The secondary source, you're actually writing a secondary source right now. That's what this paper is. It's someone else who has analyzed that particular primary source. So let's just say you pick Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. You're going to that is the primary source. But if you go find a secondary source of someone already talking about Dover Beach, that makes it the secondary source. It's analyzing, someone who's already analyzing the actual poem. And that's what you want. You want secondary sources, because what the source is going to do, and we'll talk more about this in the source videos and everything, is the secondary sources are actually leading credence to you. They are lending credence to you. They are supporting you. It's like you're walking into the argument saying, I have these experts, these other people who have come to the same conclusion as me. They back me up. They are your backup. So when you come into the paper now, not only are you inserting your ideas, you're also going to show us, hey, they agree too. They've come to this similar conclusion. So that's how you'll use this. And there are a lot, this is just going to take practice, y'all. And I have a lot of tips and everything that can help you all. But hopefully, unlike Unit 1, with some of you, if you have any problems, if you have any questions, you let me know, okay? If I don't hear from you, I assume everything's wonderful and perfect, okay? But you have to turn in your outlines, you have to turn in your rough drafts. We have to go in the process, and you have to ask questions, okay? Anyway, and then the last type of source, and I want to mention this because I want to tell you to stay away from it. It's a tertiary source. A tertiary source is something like an encyclopedia. And like Wikipedia. This is the main reason a lot of people tell you not to use Wikipedia, because anybody can edit it. It's a pedia, or a wiki, excuse me, so they can do whatever to it. Yeah, that's true, but even today, there's so many fact-checking going on that that's highly unlikely that you're just going to get bad information from Wikipedia in that sense. The main problem with Wikipedia is that it's an encyclopedia and it's not giving you analysis like a secondary source. It's just giving you basic info. That's not going to be good enough for your paper. So that's the main reason I tell people don't touch Wikipedia, because it's not going to give you what you need. It's not going to give you enough, okay? Anyway, moving on really fast. The reading list. On top of going back over the textbook chapters from Unit 1, you have these new 4 textbook chapters. Y'all have to understand, this is an online course. I can only give you so much. You're going to have to work at doing this. So that means you're going to have to read and reread items. You're going to have to watch these videos when they're available. You have to go back over the handouts. You're going to have to work, and you're going to have to communicate with me. Okay? So on top of that, you have 3. I kept the writing about theme up there, that chapter, but you have 3 new chapters: research writing, how do I read poetry, and writing about persona and tone. Those are some items that will really help you out. But also remember, when it's reading, it doesn't mean you have to read from page 1 to 100. You go in there, you pre-read, you look for what you need, and you focus in those areas, and you come in and you fill the holes as you need as you get to that point, okay? Other than that, here are your poems. Now, I told you all you only need to write about 1 poem, but I've given you 6, and each 2 that you see, each set of 2 in the even numbers here, are going to be poems that can be worked together. They're very complementary. So Robert Frost's Birches and Wordsworth's The World Is Too Much With Us, very close together. Very similar. Mother to Son and We Real Cool by Langston Hughes and Gwendolyn Brooks, very similar in many ways. Not so similar as Birches and The World Is Too Much With Us, but still similar. And the last 2, very interesting, very entertaining in a way, but they're opposite in a way. That's how they're obviously connected to each other in the content, but they're completely opposite in what they're trying to say. It's Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold and Dover Bitch by Anthony Hike. So you can check those out. Every one of them are in the book except for Dover Bitch. I actually already have the link to that poem in there, and I gave you the link, not the poem, because that link is going to help you with your citation. So anyway, there we are. Please keep an eye on your discussion boards. I'm going to be posting all of the stuff for you to discuss, some quizzes and everything like that. Okay. And by the way, last thing I want to say, I appreciate everybody. If I miss something, like I don't have something up for you to turn in, or due date's wrong or something, I appreciate everybody, those who email me and tell me that. So thank you and keep it up. Anyway, let's move to the next video.